Right first, I'm a state editor for Watchdog Wire, North Carolina.
Well, why don't you tell us this? What's your name, first name, and where you're from, and what do you do, and what brought you here?
I am Ann from Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm the state editor for WatchdogWire.com for North Carolina. And my job is to bring in contributors to add content to our site and to work on digging for information on waste, fraud, and abuse in government and local government.
Okay, very good. If anything, what do you expect to take out of this event and take home with you to tell the people back home?
That there are a lot of people who believe in freedom and good government, and that I've contacted different people who are all very much involved in the mission of bringing this news to the public.
Well, very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
May I ask where you're from?
We're from Miami. Miami.
Miami. Okay, so what did you think of, did you see here Marco Rubio come out?
Yes, we did.
And what was your thoughts on his...
I thought he did a great job. I think he's doing a great job in Washington, and we need to support him.
Okay. Well, getting back to the event, what drew you to come?
We wanted to see the speakers. There was a lot of good speakers here this weekend, and we wanted to come in and see them.
Okay, very good. Well, enjoy the event.
All right, thank you.
Hey, can I ask you where you folks from?
Arkansas.
A lot of these, you all came together.
We didn't come with the bus. We came on our own.
Chief Operating Officer.
How are we doing, freedom fighters? You guys ready to have some fun tonight? What an incredible start to the Defending the American Dream Summit and the Right Online conference that we had today. I just want to say it was incredibly inspirational to sit out there and listen to all of our incredible speakers. Let's give those folks one more round of applause. And now tonight, we get to have some fun, right? We get this entire theme park to ourselves this evening. Who's ready to ride some roller coasters? I'm ready to ride some roller coasters as long as they let me get on there and I don't exceed the weight limit. So, her fingers crossed. Yeah, right. I just want to say that it's been an incredibly inspirational event to have you folks out here and seeing all of the incredible activists that we have here tonight. We're going to recognize some folks here in a little bit who are truly our superstar activists. These folks have gone above and beyond for the cause of freedom, and we're going to bring them out and recognize them for their efforts. But first of all, you're going to hear from some folks this evening. You're going to hear from somebody by the name of Malkin. Who's ready to go? During my time with AFP, I've worked with a lot of conservative spokespeople, folks on the right, and Michelle is definitely one of the best ones that we've worked with. She's an inspirational woman, and she doesn't back down from anybody. And our first speaker out here this evening is somebody who didn't back down either. He comes from the great state of Wisconsin, my home state. All right? I see all the Wisconsin activists sitting out here with us this evening. Benji is a young man who went out and wasn't afraid to tell his fellow classmates that he was a freshman in high school, and he was talking about the reforms that Governor Walker passed in Wisconsin. He was talking about it in a way, just telling people the honest truth about they're working, right? They're saving people money, and there's nothing to be scared of. And what did he get for that? Well, his teachers targeted him. They went after him, and they actually harassed this poor little kid and said, "You can't be saying these things." And he said, "Yes, I can." And he stood up, and he's continued to take that message all across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome one of our youngest conscious activist and a strong leader of the conservative side, Benji Backer.
So much. Well, I'm a little shorter than Luke, so maybe someday I'll grow up to his height, but gotta bring this microphone down a little bit. Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing tonight? You guys freedom fighters ready to win in 2014? Great, and I appreciate all of your hard work, and you all deserve to be up here getting awards, and I want to let you guys all know that, because you guys are the people that make a difference in this country, and you guys deserve the ultimate thanks for that. Well, for years, liberal bias in high school's classrooms has been something known but hardly proven. We always hear about the college student who releases a video about a college professor with liberal views in the classroom, but hardly any high schoolers have ever been able to stand up against the teachers. And I'm here today to share a story about what happened to me in the classroom and how teachers treated me extremely negatively because of my political views. Like Luke said, my name is Benji Backer. I'm 15 from Appleton, Wisconsin. I've gone to a public school all of my life. This year I'll be attending Appleton North High School, the same high school I attended last year, as a sophomore. At the age of only 10, I got active in politics, getting involved with my local Republican Party, all on my own. My mom is here tonight somewhere in the crowd, and I thank her for everything she's done for me, but they have not raised me to be a political kid. I did that on my own, and I'm proud to have such a great parent to stand behind me, as well as my dad. I'll thank my mom for that. Unfortunately, at the age of only 12, my teachers started treating me negatively because of my political views. My local newspaper, the Post-Crescent, did an article about my political involvement at such a young age, and I got negative attention from my teachers. One of my teachers would take me before, during, or after class and call me stupid or dumb for being a Republican. This is in 7th grade. I'm 12 years old. And after the first semester, I needed to switch schools because it had gotten so bad and because of some other issues with that school. Just a few weeks after I got to my new school, the greatest governor in this country, in my opinion, Governor Scott Walker, who has done amazing things to lead for not only Wisconsin, the great state of Wisconsin, but he's also done great things in this country. He passed Act 10. And if you guys will all remember, the unions got extremely upset, and that was just a few weeks after I transferred schools. Teachers were crying, talking about Walker in class. They were protesting, wearing shirts, advocating against him in class. I didn't say anything at that point, and it ended up going viral. Within a week, Laura Ingraham, Dana Lash, Megan Kelly all contacted me to interview me. On April 5th, 2013, I stood up on Fox News in Green Bay talking about what had happened in my schools. And believe me, I've taken a lot of negative attention for that. But what I showed was bravery, and more students need to stand up and say that this has happened to them, because I had thousands of parents, teachers, and students say that the exact same thing had happened to them. And even teachers and students in my own school district. And they all had the same thing to say. They were too scared to stand up. And that's why I'm here today, to let other students and adults know that you cannot be scared to stand up to the liberal bullies, the union bullies, the people who try to scream us out into quiet submission. And I think a lot of times as conservatives, we stand a little bit too quiet. But if we stand up like Scott Walker and I did, it makes a difference. My school district ended up conducting an investigation. It proved everything was true, except for the 2 incidents in 7th grade, which were too far back to prove. My English teacher admitted to swearing, to saying, I didn't include this in my speech yet, but he said, I don't give an SHIT about you going to the principal's office because he and I are good friends, so it doesn't matter. He admitted to all of this. And As you guys probably all know, he wasn't fired or suspended. Let me switch gears quickly here. How many of you volunteered? So in 2014, get out there, volunteer and make a difference, and make your voice heard. Because if you don't, you're part of the problem. Be a solution to the problem, and help conservatives win in 2014. God bless you, God bless America, and let's have some fun tonight.
Get to his age. In the next part of our presentation tonight, I think it's appropriate that we're sitting here in the Marvel Arena, because the activists that we are going to honor this evening have done marvelous things for the cause of freedom. These folks are people, just like all of you out there, who put their lives on hold, who've taken an opportunity to go out and work for the cause of freedom because they believe that America is the best place in the country to live, to work, and to raise their families. The first person that we're going to honor this evening is from the great state of Illinois. So please help me welcome my friend and colleague, David Fromm, our state director from Illinois.
Wow, it's so great to be with everybody here. With so many freedom-loving people, you know, coming from Illinois. You know, sometimes my job description is kind of get some laughs. It's like my job is to fight for economic freedom in the state of Illinois. But we're here tonight to talk about a couple who are helping to change that. I'm honored to have the chance to help recognize Bob and Tempe Lyons, who've been working so hard for the cause of economic freedom in Illinois. You know, we got to meet Bob and Tempe through Ken Strang, who is our rock star field director in Illinois. And
Wisconsin on your name tag, everyone comes up to you, they want to know, how'd you do it, how'd you do it? You tell them that that's, you know, Act 10, everyone knows what happened in 2011 with collective bargaining reforms, or recalls, everything else. And that's only half the story. Since then, we passed mining permitting regulation reform. We passed $700 million worth of tax cuts. We expanded school choice statewide. We beat back the Medicaid expansion. We beat back the exchanges. And we froze tuition that you don't do colleges.
Great.
And the question that always comes out of the mouth is, how did you do it? Because Wisconsin's not a red state. We're not ruby red by any stretch of the imagination. We're a purple state. How did you do it? And my response is always the same thing. It's because of our people.
Yep.
We have some of the best activists in the country living in the great state of Wisconsin. We have about 35 folks from our delegation here. I hope they're all in the audience. I can't really see. But thank you to everybody who came here from Wisconsin. Oh, there they are. I wish they could all be up here on stage with me. I wish I could give an award to each and every one of them, because that's really how we get this stuff done. It's the phone calls, it's the events, it's the emails, it's the direct contact with our legislators. But we're here tonight to honor one in particular. When I started working in the legislature, every time there was a policy fight going on, there always seemed to be one guy that was always involved somehow. He was always at an event, he was making phone calls, he was doing the dirty work behind the scenes to make sure the policy got passed. And I had to figure out who this guy was. Who is this guy? Why does he keep showing up? Came over to AFP and we became great friends. And behind everything, behind the mining reform, behind the tax cut, our voter registration project, Scotty Meyer is always there, and he hates stuff like this. He hates getting his name in the paper. He hates getting his picture taken. I had to tell him about this about an hour ago, because otherwise he probably wouldn't come down to Orlando. So he's really hating this right now, and I'm really enjoying it. But without Scotty, we wouldn't have been able to pass any of the reforms we passed that made Wisconsin famous and put us on the path to prosperity.
Yep.
And that's why we're here tonight. That's why we're honoring Scotty Meyer. And everyone give a round of applause.
It is a thrill to be able to give an award to an activist, because as you know, when we work for Americans for Prosperity and we have our activists, I have a lot of them here tonight, we ask for help over and over and over, and almost always you say yes, and we appreciate you more than you will ever know. We really do. Tonight, I'm going to give this special award to Paige Freeman. She is our local AFP leader in the greater Wilmington area, which is down in the southeast. Paige has been with us, she's been with AFP since 2007, about the same time that I joined AFP. She was right there volunteering at that time. She's gone to 6 summits and filled the bus every time we've gone, except this one when we came on a train. So at the national level, we filled more buses than I care to even think about, Paige, honestly. You know, not only the summits, but healthcare and spending and whatever rally or tour was going on.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we get one more round of applause for our activists of the year? Our next speaker this evening is somebody who I admire so much, not only because she is the chairwoman of our C4 board, Ms. Freda Levy.
I want to thank everyone for being here. You know, my heart is just overwhelmed with pride when I know that 2,000 people use their own money, your own time, and your own effort to come here and fight for economic liberty. Do you realize everyone here is why our founding fathers believed in a free society? So before I read to you what they wrote about Michelle Malkin, I have to tell you what they claim to do, okay? So they claim that they are analyzing and refuting pseudoscience. I think they mean any science without a liberal agenda. They are documenting the full range of crank ideas. How's that for a high moral purpose in life? And then they're providing the most accurate and full analysis. Okay, so keep that in mind as I read to you what they write about her. Michelle Malkin is a proponent of torture. Pretty accurate. And she demonizes liberals at almost every opportunity. Okay. Part. But then they go on, she demonizes them often for no particular reason. I don't know, I think there's a lot of reasons to demonize the left. And they say, being Asian, and this just baffles me, they put in parentheses, i.e. not white. I mean, I didn't know why they needed that explanation, but they said she's often used to shield American conservative punditry from accusations of racism, regardless of the fact that she's a flaming racist herself. Now, you know what they mean by racist? They mean conservative, right? And then they say that Andrew Sullivan, who's a liberal journalist, made up the Michelle Malkin Award for the most inappropriate, hateful remarks of the year. I'm applying for the award. I don't know about you. Okay, listen. Here's the real bio. Michelle Malkin is a New York Times best-selling author, a nationally syndicated newspaper columnist, Fox News contributor. She lives in Maryland with her husbands and children, and she has not yet physically tortured any liberal.
bringing us all together to partay. You've all been working so hard for freedom, and it's nice to get together. I will be going casual, by the way. I'm going to take off these heels. I thought I might need them to stave off all of those boards that were supposed to protest us today. A mob as big as your average OSA gathering. I love that we're here at the Marvel Superhero Island, and I think of all of the superheroes, I most identify with the Hulk. Because some of you who know me off of the screen and out of the box know that my general nature is actually rather mild-mannered. For real. It's only when you antagonize me, and you know what the Hulk said, you don't want to see me angry. If you put me on the screen next to fill in the blank, yeah, the seams on my clothes are going to start to rip apart. We heard a lot today about the need to deliver a positive, upbeat message. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. But there are times when we cannot allow ourselves to be steamrolled over. There are times when we need to put the war in the happy warrior part and step up to the plate. I put on a happy face every morning when I realize every single day what a blessing it is to live in this great country. I don't consider myself an Asian American, a female American, a brown American. I'm out of the closet. I am a rah-rah American. And I know you are also well informed that you know where that phrase comes from. It's stuck under my skin and got in my craw several weeks ago when it was reported that apparently one of the curators of the 9/11 Museum apparently had reservations about that iconic photo after 9/11 where the firefighters were raising the flag, and it beckoned and was very reminiscent of Iwo Jima. And apparently they were afraid that it would be too uber patriotic to include that photo because it was too rah-rah American. That's the only time I will put a hyphen by American. Rah-rah American. How about you? Yeah! I want to congratulate all of the winners of the Activism and Blogger Awards, and it's always a happy occasion when I come to speak at events like this, and you've got this confluence of defending the dream and right online, because my American dream has come because of my ability to communicate online. And each and every one of us is blessed to live in the 21st century where we can take control over what has long been a monopoly on the media. I lived through the age 20 years ago when you could count on one hand the number of prominent conservatives who held positions in mainstream media. And what gives these people an ulcer is the fact that every single one of you is a citizen journalist or citizen activist who can grab the reins of the power that they have held for so long. I would be remiss if I continued without asking for you to pray for one of my closest friends in the blogosphere and someone who I know probably all of you have read. His name is Jim Hoft. He's at Gateway Pundit on Twitter and Gateway Pundit online. And this man is your classic, average, ordinary citizen who built something from nothing. When I started in the blogosphere in 2005, he had already been around for a year. He had a passion, like so many of you did, for grassroots conservative activism. And over the years, he worked really hard in his off time, in his spare time, building up a blog. He worked for the Dial Corporation as a human resource manager. There's so many incredible stories like this. My friend Ed Morrissey of Captain's Quarters, who worked for a call center. So many ordinary, average people who wouldn't have been able to enter the elite Sorbonne of mainstream media, able to do what the mainstream media wouldn't do, which is tell the truth and report the facts. If you're able to get on Twitter right now, I hope you'll use a hashtag #GetWellJim. He's been very ill the last several weeks. He's in the hospital now. He's got to get an aorta valve replaced after suffering an infection. And I hope you'll all lift him up in prayer and in your spirits. He's inspired me because of his example of relentlessness and ferocity, while at the same time having that happy warrior face. Jim, we're thinking of you, and we're pulling for you, and we need you back in this fight. Who was here for Defending the Dream last year? How many of you remember when I brought on stage my buckyballs? For those of you who weren't here, I told the story of this company that manufactured buckyballs. They're a little play toy of high-powered magnets. And the federal government went after them because they thought it was their paramount duty to protect people from their own stupidity and lack of responsibility, because they were so concerned that parents wouldn't exercise their discretion and make sure that these kids weren't swallowing the toys. I am sad to report to you that essentially Buckyballs has gone out of business with regard to that line of their product. No, this is not good. What are you talking about? You never applaud when the government crushes a business that it doesn't like. When the government picks winners and losers, when the government acts as a nanny, when the government encroaches upon people's right to determine their happiness and their passions, that is tyranny. And the American dream. I had the pleasure of interviewing Anthony Maglica, who is the president and founder of MagLight. This man came here to the United States with nothing. He was penniless. He was an immigrant from Croatia. And in fact, yeah, I got some Croatians out there. During the Depression, he had to go back to Croatia with his mother, and he lived under fascist occupation and rule. And it was during that time of adversity that he came to love everything that America stood for. And when he had an opportunity to come back here in the 50s, he strove to make a name for himself and to make something. You know, our parents, my parents, have always urged me to have a hard work ethic and make something of myself. And the way we make something of ourselves is to make something, not to use our power and influence to destroy. An ideology that is based on theft and confiscation and total disregard for the rule of law and the Constitution and property rights does not know how to build things. They only know how to destroy. It's not crony capitalism if it's coming out of your pocketbook, right? She loves to do her nails. And she started a business called Marvelous Nails. You can write this down. MARBLEOUS nails.com. Because she was constantly online, she's very artistic, and she saw that there were a lot of girls who were struggling with a certain technique. It's called water marble. And if there are any teenage girls, tweenage girls here, you'll love it. So she decided to use her own intellectual capital, put together a little kit. It's now online, and she's just getting started. She's been a little bit frustrated because it's hard to get the word spread out there, but I let her have a Twitter account, and she's out there tweeting, and she knows, as a startup, that there are no guarantees of success. There's only the guarantee that you can try. And this is one of the most fundamental lessons of free market capitalism. We're not supposed to bail out every last failed business that can't offer a product that people want. We have a product to sell to our neighbors, to our families, to our friends, to our coworkers. We are selling them the greatest product on earth, freedom. We have an obligation to our parents and our grandparents and our forefathers and our foremothers to sell it any way we can, the best we can. Sometimes that means putting on a happy face, and sometimes it means getting in their face. Why, thank you. As I said on Twitter the other day, when somebody was criticizing my eyes, I love my crazy eyes. We're happy warriors because nowhere else in the world can a brown girl who came from a poor village make a living running off her mouth. And I never tire of saying that. When you go back to your hometowns, I want you to know that you're not alone and that we are carrying the burden of fighting for our country together. It can be a source of despair sometimes when you're clicking across those channels. And if you're not watching somebody twerking, you are watching people's knees jerking. And in many ways, it's frustrating because a lot of times you see people in Washington who have no fight left in them. And if you're dissatisfied with your representation, replace it. You know, one of the most enduring mottos of the Tea Party is, you can't fix stupid, but you can vote it out.
Please welcome to the stage Teresa Oldman, Vice President of State Operations at Americans for Prosperity Foundation.
College, he leaned a little left, but by his junior year, he figured it out and started writing for a school newspaper. He interned for various political organizations and he began blogging in the spring of 2012. I met him in the fall of that year on a bus tour in Fairfax, Virginia. And true to AFP standards, we got trapped in a restaurant in a torrential rainstorm. With Tim Phillips, Stephen Cruiser, and Tony Katz, we sat and discussed how we could use our gifts to make a difference. Well, he left that restaurant and he did just that. A little over a year later, he's now a frequent on blogger websites like Hot Air, Red State, Policy Mike, and Viral Read. And from press releases to working phone banks and talking on bloggers' conference calls, he's been a real partner with Americans for Prosperity in spreading the message of economic freedom. Just this year, he was critical to sounding the alarm when Blueprint North Carolina released their strategy to upset the conservative leadership and foil their efforts in the state legislature. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring Mr. Matt Vespa.
Usually in my mom's basement doing this stuff, so excuse me if I'm a little nervous with the remarks here. A little over a year ago, I would never have imagined standing here accepting this award. This is truly an honor and I'm humbled by it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Syndicated talk personality, Rusty Humphries.
Wow, this is awesome. Thank you. First of all, I'm very excited. AFP gave me about 45 minutes up here, so I'm excited. I know you're going to be excited. I'm going to talk all about the unemployment numbers and the GDP. Now, the one thing I've learned about myself is, and it's weird, the more the audience gets excited, the faster I go through the speech. So, what? Wait a minute, I got the GDP numbers and everything. So anyway, so if you make a lot of noise, I can get into this thing fast if you want, or I can take my time. So, noise or not noise? All right, thank you. Now, here's what's interesting. I don't know about you. I was outside and I was thinking about the country and looking at the rides. Our country kind of feels like the Hulk roller coaster. It's moving too dang fast. It's going upside down. It's all over the place. Yes, I'm on the ride. I just want it to stop. One. Or another one, the Obama economy. It's like the Dr. Doom ride. It's a free fall down straight. Or the budget could be like the Harry Potter ride. It's got to be some kind of spell to get anyone to believe those dang numbers. So. Oh, I'm not supposed to mention Obama or any politician. Oopsie. Sorry. Actually, this is a very big deal for me. Thank you very much for being here. Yesterday was my birthday. I'm going to do a little bit of it. Please, I'm not Martin Luther King, so I won't do it justice. But it's something that I think it speaks to all of us. He said, and when you discover what your life will be, set out to do it as if God Almighty called you at this particular moment in history to do it. Don't just set out to do a good job. Set out to do such a good job that the living...
Phillips, President of Americans for Prosperity Foundation.
You know, congratulations is in order. You have survived the first day of the Defending the American Dream Summit. Congratulations. I know a lot of you started this morning at 8:45 with breakout sessions, 8 o'clock with all of the breakfast going on. A few last housekeeping items. Number one, tomorrow morning we begin again at 8:45. Breakout sessions for Right Online and Defending the American Dream Summit. Please